if you're looking for a great headline when debating on whether you want to go see the Barbie movie or not, this is one that was read from a quote from somebody named Doug Dilliman, who says, if you take a tequila shot every time the patriarchy is mentioned, you will die.
Yeah, this was on Letterboxd. His full review said, I had a vague idea of what to expect from this movie, but it did not include if you take a tequila shot every time you hear the word patriarchy, you will die. Not gonna rate this because it's officially embargoed and not sure if I would bother anyway because it will probably be the most divisive movie of 2023, and I had an internally divided reaction. But it's certainly something, and geez, am I glad I'm off Twitter for this discourse. Oscar nom for Margot Robbie, please? Yeah. So he thinks Margot Robbie did well in the role,
but that this
is going to be the most divisive movie of the year.
Yep. I think that what we're looking at right now is the fact that Mattel and Warner Brothers knew exactly early on. They're like, look, we spent $100 million on this movie. We need to make this a success. Feminism is an inherently divisive topic. How can we market this movie as anything other than what it is? And so you make a pink Barbie playhouse. You put a pink Doctor Who, a pink TARDIS in the middle of London. You market this movie on literally everything but the feminist messaging that, to be fair, the actors have had not a single problem pushing forth when they're promoting the movie.
This just means that the studios at least know very well that, politicizing a movie is alienating to mainstream audiences. Yep. And they know that feminist messaging doesn't get people to go see your movie. And they continue doing it. They continue allowing it. But they're using the marketing to bait and switch us. Yep. I certainly hope that that's not the case, but it sounds like it's going to be worse than we originally thought. The mention of the word patriarchy or other buzzwords is just going to be a cold shower during the viewing experience that really takes you out of it.
Grace Randolph says it is one of the greatest movies she's ever seen. It's a super fun, super feminist movie. She could watch it on a loop. So Grace Randolph, if I remember correctly, and I think Mr. H Reviews mentioned it today, she didn't like the last Rambo movie because it portrayed Mexicans as members of a cartel, which she said was stereotypical, not realizing that you're not portraying all people that way. You're just portraying the drug dealers that way. But she's a feminist, and she's very, very far left.
Seems like a nice lady, but...
No.
Very misguided. And then there was this male feminist that wrote a very obnoxious article in response to that review, and we got this covered. And he said that Barbie, after leaving the perfection of Barbie world for the real world, bumps into real world concerns, like the fact that it's pretty damn misogynistic out there. Yikes. And directing a summer blockbuster with wide appeal that also delves into feminist theory is a tough line for Greta Gerwig to walk, mostly because of all that misogyny. Yep. Or maybe it's just because our tastes are for something that we can enjoy and not to be educated in a movie theater. Yep. Not to be lectured at.
Well, it's and let's not even say that there's not even a place for those type of movies. It's not a movie that I'm going to watch.
I'm not going to watch Little Women.
But it doesn't need to be $100 million summer blockbuster, which is what Mattel and Warner Brothers seem very, very keen on keeping from you. There's a $20 one there from Tom. Bomba Derp.
He said, looking forward for the Barbie release just so we can move on to the next current thing. Remember, kids, the patriarchy doesn't make the world you live in. It makes the world you live in better. Merit yields results.
Well, then in this case, guys, the embargo is lifted again 7 p.m. tonight and I believe at noon tomorrow for Oppenheimer. And I said on Twitter, I said the late review embargo lifting here is concerning because what I think it was is they realized that the messaging in the movie was feminist.
We've got another one.
From Eric Wrights.
He said, yes, hello. I don't by any means work in this industry or for the guy who made it or the company who released it, but Dave the Diver is an awesome game. Opens up around 8 hours. Give Vivek Ramaswamy a chance to s'il vous plaît.
I'm open to listening to Vivek. Is it Vivek? Tim, I think Tim says Vivek.
I don't know. I thought it was Vivek.
bit about patriotism that I heard the other day was good, but I'm not paying close enough attention. I'll pay closer attention to all that stuff as we get closer to election season as best as I can. But right now, just let them fight it out. I heard something about Trump getting indicted again today because they want to keep him from running, and I'm just like,
whatever.
Yeah. But Barbie, am I right? That's what this country really needs.
Matters.
That's what really matters. Look, Mattel understands, and I think this is what happened. I think they saw that those early ticket sales were good because this is, I forgot, I had this pulled up too. So apparently they switched originally there's a $20 one there from Steve Suick. Steve, you'll have to let me know how to pronounce your name, brother, because I don't want to keep getting it wrong.
Yes, my fiance said if I got our cat Echo on the show, she'd buy me a new TV. The chat can now fight about preferred TV brands.
LG.
Okay.
I have no idea.
At least it's not a Nintendo Switch.
Enjoy the new TV, my friend. But I saw that, look, originally the review embargo for Barbie was supposed to go up on July 13th, and they pushed it to July 18th.
Yeah.
I think that they realized that the movie was going to have divisive messaging, and that divisive messaging was going to be labeled in the reviews, so they wanted to prevent you from being able to read those reviews as much as possible, and then they doubled down on the fun marketing. So, again, I think this is, it's sleight of hand. It's look at the pretty pink Barbie playhouse over here. Isn't this so fun and cool and interesting? Well, all the messaging is being spewed by Greta Gerwig, and nobody watches those interviews anymore. It's not like that. What did it have, like 200 views? The one that we were talking about, the one of Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie.
And Simu Liu's interview got barely any views.
They had barely any views because they understand that nobody cares.
They're screaming into the void about how deep this movie's message is about like women's place in society and like what Barbie represents for feminism, and no one cares.
Let's watch this clip. Lorena Creole reposted this on Twitter. I really want to get her on the show. You guys should send her a message, or you should send her messages on Twitter. Say that she should come on our show because she doesn't have open DMs, so I can't get a hold of her. Here we go. Let's watch this clip. Let me put it on screen.
I want to ask all of you right now, what is a Ken? How does one spot a Ken?
That's so funny because when we were like in prep for this movie, two of our wonderful producers, one of whom is also my husband, when David and Tom would like start talking about like Bitcoin or something, like Greta and I'd be like, they're being such Kens.
He cares about finances, Mary. What a Ken.
They talk about golf, we're like, stop being Kens. So it's hard to define what makes a Ken, but there can also be big Ken energy, and that's a good thing.
Whereas Ryan says Kenergy.
Kenergy is, it's not something you can define, it's just...
She's just too old to know what Riz means.
Something you can sense and you know it. Yeah.
How do you guys spot a Ken?
I think a Ken for me is just kind of there, you know? I think a Ken is a great accessory, but that's what I loved about, you know, Greta's imagining of Barbie is that the Kens are just supplemental characters to these Barbies. While Barbies can do everything, Kens are there to kind of support.
They are rewriting history about Barbie right now and what Barbie has represented, and about Ken, because I don't know where they get this idea that Ken was always just an accessory to Barbie and he's a second-class citizen, and it's actually a commentary about reversing the patriarchy and oppression. Look, Barbie was the ideal teenage girl living an ideal life, and Ken was the ideal boyfriend. That's all it was. It was never a commentary about anything. They're just using this redefinition of the Barbie world to make a comment about the real world.
So they're redefining the past to fit a narrative that's more inherently fits in this current time, which is not accurate to what the characters actually represented when they first came out.
And the annoying coverage of this movie is still like churning out from all of these publications. They're saying, you know, why is Barbie so controversial? This one article from Harper's Bazaar says, feminist icon or a doll which props up the patriarchy? Of course she's both, because like all real women, Barbie has always been expected to conform to impossible standards. And they said that Barbie may just be a doll, but she's still a woman. And even as a pretend female, her life, her choices, and her body are just as policed.
I hate feminism.
And they also, some of this I agree with in a weird way. They say that Barbie was this revolutionary product because instead of being a baby doll. Thank you.
Know who's not policed? Crisis parties. By the way, we're working on a new one, a Nightcore crisis party.
Yes.
Carter's hard at work.
I'm really excited about it. So, baby dolls traditionally were meant for little girls to play with to pretend to be mothers, which is, I think, something that any little girl dreams about. And then when they released Barbie, it was more about like imagining yourself as an adult in this idealized version of adult life. And it's about like, you know, things that you want to accomplish or be in the future, regardless of whether you have children or not. You can be a president, you can be a doctor, you can be a veterinarian, you can be, you know, an astronaut, all of these things. And kids aren't out, they're out of the question. So I do agree with that interpretation of Barbie in a way, and that it was a feminist product. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it is a product, and they were selling it to make money, not because they were trying to indoctrinate the youth.
And feminism has changed drastically since they first came out.
Yeah, I mean, I would disagree with the underlying message of it all along. Yeah. But now it's just getting rammed down our throats. And then there's also this interview with America Ferrera, who is one of the Barbies in The Cut, and it says, America Ferrera taught a generation of women to reject traditional beauty standards. So what is she doing in the Barbie movie?
What is she doing in the Barbie movie?
As a human inoculated against patriarchy, Gloria's task, her character is Gloria. It's this mother who used to love Barbies, and she has this monologue in the movie that is supposed to be about the dissonance of being a woman under the patriarchy.
There's a $20 super chat there from John Andrew 23. He
said, that is the beautiful thing about history. It can't be rewritten, and only a fool would try. Yes.
Is that true? Or do you believe that history is written by the victors and what really happened is usually left open for debate if you actually look at the history books, right?
Well, yeah. This says, Gloria's task is to bring the Barbies back to feminist consciousness, a restoration that begins with a speech that, as Margot Robbie's character says in the film, captures the cognitive dissonance of being a woman under the patriarchy. Greta Gerwig wrote the original monologue. This is confirmed in the movie, by the way. And she and America Ferrera spent months refining it. Quote, we would text each other anything related to it. They would.
These people sound insufferable. I'm sorry. They sound insufferable.
Draw on songs, articles, and movie scenes that got what Gloria's talking about. And it says, like, there were people on set crying as she did, like, 30 takes of this monologue that was about the ludicrous expectations that are placed on women.
Can I ask a question? What the hell are the expectations placed on women nowadays? You're not allowed to have expectations of women at all.
The only ludicrous expectation that's put on women is that you're supposed to be able to have it all and do it all.
Okay.
But that's not what they're talking about.
That's not even an expectation. That's just that's actually just a lie that's sold to them that then makes them depressed later on when they realize it's not true. We just talked yesterday about a guy who's like, look, honey, you've gained a little weight. And she leaks the text messages. You're not allowed to have any type of requirements on women at all these days. Just saying.
America Ferrera said, ultimately, it was about giving myself permission to let go of expectations that had been placed on me. I was trying to meet those expectations and be my true self. And those things were at odds, and something had to give. And that was the message of Gloria's monologue in Barbie. This is like really hampering my enthusiasm about watching this movie because I didn't think, based on the marketing, that it would be like this.
It's fair to say, like, look, we could be wrong, and the movie could end up being awesome. We don't know that, but it does seem to be pushing in the wrong direction. That it's not focusing on the type of fun that you wanted the movie to be, right?
Greta Gerwig said that during Ferrera's performance, everyone on set, not just women, the men too, were crying. At one point, an assistant director told Margot Robbie to get it together. He said, "You don't need to cry. You're not on camera." And Margot Robbie said, "I'm not doing it on purpose." It's just, it's so touching.
Those stories just sound like stuff leaked by the studio for good press.
Right? Yeah. I mean, but this isn't good press. And they're so out of touch.
Yeah, but
that
the thing is Mattel understands that. The actors do not.
I don't know if Mattel does understand that as well as they should, because they've done their own woke pandering with the dolls, making them plus size, making them disabled, doing all of this identity politics stuff. It's not new.
Yeah.
They've been doing it, I mean, even since the 80s or since the beginning of their brand, really.
Yeah.
Making an astronaut Barbie
in
1965. It's sending a feminist message, whether you like it or not.
There was nothing like. Did you take issue with it back then?
I do think there's something wrong with that.
With back then, even I just
whether they were fully conscious of it or not. The idea being sold to children that played with Barbies was to imagine adult life without the expectations of becoming a wife or a mother.
Yeah.
And I think that's inherently subversive and evil.
And it seems to be the only direction that they take it these days, right? And it's not really fair to women. It's not really fair because nowadays, like, look the way it is. Like, a woman is shamed for wanting to have kids and be a mom.
The message of Barbie, as it's always been since its inception, has been like, you can do anything a man can do, but you can do it better and do it while looking perfect. And that's like that expectation, if it is placed on you, is ludicrous. And if you can't meet it, you will be depressed in the long run.
That is absolutely true. Okay, like if the idea here is that not only do we tell them that they can do anything they want to do, and they can do it better than men, but also they can do it without looking as if they've exerted any effort, and it all should come naturally to you. That is extremely unfair to women to put that idea in their head and imagine. Just like it should be equally as ridiculous it is to tell men that you're just going to succeed based on the fact that you're a dude. That way, then the dude grows up and he's not successful, and he wonders, why not? I've got every advantage. They tell me I have every advantage. Why am I not succeeding? They're all kind of evil ways of sending messages to boys and girls.
I don't know where this idea came in that Ken is like this beta, like, purse puppy boyfriend that follows Barbie around and does everything she says and is obsessed with gaining her approval. Like, Ken was always a Chad. Yeah, right? Like, Ken was always the ideal guy.
Yeah. A
guy's guy. Like, they're reinventing what that was supposed to represent retroactively.
Yeah. I mean, that's rewriting history, and they love to do that, right? They love to rewrite anything that had any type of positive connotation about the past that they disagree with and rewrite it to mean something completely different in the present, because people have short attention spans anyways.
They also said that America Ferrera emerged as a symbol of embracing your beauty and telling beauty standards to F off. She said, I had internalized self-loathing. I was surrounded by women who deeply internalized those standards and expectations and taught them to me. Movies, musicians, models, and dolls, everything we idolized.
What do you think about the idea of internalizing something like that? Does that seem, do you buy that, or does that just seem like a buzzword to you?
I mean, any time that women are self-critical, they're told, no, you're perfect, there's nothing wrong with you, when the message should be, you can't be perfect because no one is perfect, and that doesn't contradict that you still have inherent worth as a human being.
It's kind of what I hate about the idea that we used to just tell people, like, tough, life isn't life's hard.
Life isn't an equal playing field.
Yeah. And that used to be a thing. Like, life's not fair. That used to be a very simple phrase that we would tell people that I feel like gets lost nowadays, and is actually an important thing for people to understand, that life's not fair. Some people are going to have more advantages than you. Life's not fair. Sometimes
there's a reason that Barbie was never depicted doing the hard jobs that men do that keep society running. They're dirty and difficult and dangerous.
Yeah.
Barbie was never a construction worker.
Yeah.
Barbie was never a coal miner. Barbie never worked at an oil rig. Barbie never worked at a sewage plant. Like, that's not the fantasy that they were selling to young girls, is that you can do anything that a man can do. It was more so like, you can be in power over men.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Do you think this movie ends up doing, this is my original prediction was kind of like strong opening weekend, and then depending on how the movie actually is, it'll probably fall off. If the movie is as feminist as they say, I don't think the holds are very good.
Maybe it'll have a strong opening.
No, I think it'll do well the opening weekend, and then after
won't
that,
survive as well.
After that, it lives and dies on whether the movie actually gets good word of mouth from the people who go to see it. So we'll have to wait and see.
This is all bad signs.
And to me, it's like, look, it could end up being a ton of dumb fun, but it just doesn't seem that way to me. So, and I think that the actors' interviews earlier articulated that, but the company did a really good job of every few days there was some new viral marketing tactic being released that distracted you away from. They're like, oh crap, Simu Liu said something. Release the Barbie house. Oh crap, Greta Gerwig something. Release the pink TARDIS. They knew how to divert your eyes.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.